Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Communication Techniques. So in this, basically what we are going to do, we are going to first start with short polling. So we'll talk about the short polling in technical term. What are the ingredients that you should understand, you should remember, especially from the interview perspective, right? Then we will go and do the practical and where we will see how we should do short polling and what are the use cases that personally I have used this short polling in my career basically, and there are so many other use cases you could basically relate. And going forward, when I will be keep on talking on other communication techniques that we have, so I will talk about which one is better, which one to use and when. Probably from those you will get a fair understanding. So with that, let's we understood from the Motu example, but let's time to get into the technical side of thing and understand from that perspective. So consider example, you have something called your client and the server. So when we talk about when you have your client is something which is your browser and you have a server. So what we are doing basically, we are making a request to the server and basically asking, give me the data. Server basically gives you the response. Now, after some time, again, I say, give me the data, server gives you back. When we do this job on an iterative basis, when we do this job in an interval, and we are keep on asking, give me the new data, such kind of thing basically, which is called short polling, where we wanted something to happen on a real time. What can be an example of real time? Consider you wanted to know the notifications in your system. Now, this notification can come out of box. I'm not saying that short polling is the best use case of basically getting the notification. One of the way basically to get the notification where you keep on asking after some time, after every 5 seconds to the server, oh, is there any new notification? Please give me. Whatever you have, please showcase to the user. Again, after 5-10 seconds, you are making a request and asking, do you have new notification? It says that, okay, I have that. Probably you go and again show it. So such things are happening on a recurring basis and iterative basis. Now, let's understand few important points basically before we basically dive into other examples. In such cases, if you see, these connections are very short-lived. You ask something, you got something. There may be some data which is updated and you may get no data. Like your server may respond with saying that I don't have any updated data. It's all the stale data. The last time when you came is the same data that I have. No new notification, nothing new. Now, what we can understand, this is a short-lived connection where each and every connection, basically each and every request that we have is very short-lived. You ask for something, I will give you something. If it is updated, well and good. If it is not updated, completely okay. Second thing we have to understand, there is no persistent, which is again other way of saying that, but this is very important. There is no persistent connection because it is short-lived. You do not actually have a longer connection on the server waiting for something to be done. It's just that you are saying whatever state, whatever data you have, please give me. That's all basically we are saying. In this case, if you see the comparatively less resource utilization. Why? Because we have to understand, it's just that as I'm not increasing the number of connections, it's just that I'm pinging, getting the data, my job is done. If this was a long connection, probably that was a problem. But in this case, short connection. But yes, this can become a problem with the long user base. Like as the number of user increases, this can become a problem. So problem with scale. So when you scale, then you see there are 10 people who are asking for request every 10 seconds. It's okay. How many requests which can go in probably every 10 seconds is hardly, consider example 100 requests can go. Now these are million requests and everyone is actually pinging at 10 seconds. So every 10 seconds basically you are getting a 1 million request, and that too may be unnecessary for most of the user because there is no real time update basically for those user at all, right? Now, if we talk about examples like where these can be used, anything which is real time system, where you know your system, your database, your server may have something updated and you may not have those updated data. So that is one good use case. Example, like we know notification is one of them, right? You know, like quick info kind of thing where you wanted to get latest news about the cricket and whatnot. There are example where, consider example in analytical system, analytics, we use this a lot where we wanted to get the user data. We wanted to get to know how many purchases are done, how many transactions are being done. One way is basically to keep on asking in regular interval and you keep on getting how you can leverage it. I remember I have used this in order to optimize and ensure that the hashes that we create for the asset that can be, you can say, invalidated and whatnot. So I have used this to get the version updates and whatnot. So to identify if there is a issue or there is a new version available, I've used this in my past where the hash, the cache invalidated on the, you can say the client was done based on the version. And these version was something I was getting from the polling perspective. That was also done. So there are many such use cases basically that we have where we wanted to keep on pinging, keep on getting the data from the server. Like consider example, what if you are looking for a chat, right? In such cases can be also developed by the short polling. May not be the best performant and the best solution, but short polling can help you to achieve that kind of implementation also. So these are some real use cases, and especially remember that these connections are very short-lived. The issue will start occurring when you go with a large scale. But if your system is very small, short polling is a good option. Like you can just keep on polling, keep on pinging and getting the data on the real time. You may not have a huge data set altogether, right? Or you can say the huge number of user basically, or the server load. So this is something which is all kinda sorted. There are other better options also. Let's try to implement something similar basically in our use case. So what I'm going to do in such case, let's quickly understand from my example. So we are going to, I just set up a basic, you can say this is an Express server that we have set up in previous case also. In multiple modules we have used this Express.js a lot of time, right? So if you don't know about the Express.js, please check out the other module where I have talked about the REST API. From the REST API we have developed this Express in very short. So what I'm just saying, you have a Express, it is running on a port which is 5011, and what we are returning, if someone is looking on the slash, we are returning a index.html file, where if we go into index.html file, it has nothing. It's just right now says that I am a short polling and some data has to be shown over here. Nothing. It's a basic HTML. It says that please show me some content over here. That has to be from the real time. Now what we will do something interesting over here. First run the server and let's see how this looks like. So consider example, in our case, we have get npm run start probably. Now the server is up. We'll go back and check if our server is running. Okay, so our server is running, which is short polling example. In this case, what we want, there should be a data on the server and mechanism to basically pull that data and keep pulling that data so that we get the latest data from there. So what we are going to do, let's quickly jump into that. So we will go to our server. We'll create a basic you can say endpoint, where I will say we have something called get data. Inside this get data, I can use arrow function also. So what we are going to do, we are going to just get, this is request and response. We will use the response in order to send our data back. So we will use response.send, and eventually we will leverage this data. Basically, we will get this data from the server and whatnot. But right now, or I will say I will get this data from the database. Oh, tell me what is the new data in the database, something that will be done. There will be MongoDB or any SQL connection to get the data from the DB. Right now, I'm hard coding the data probably over here. Maybe say let data is equal to, this is initial data. So consider this will be call which will be done over here in order to send the data. So this is the data that we are sending if someone is asking me. Now what we need another endpoint to update this data, which is, I'm going to make it get, consider, please use post or preferably put to update. For example purpose, I am just using this get so that I can hit from the browser itself. We can use Postman also in order to hit, both works. Nothing, not a problem at all. So what I want a endpoint where I can update that data. Consider example, this was a chat. Consider example, some other way system is getting updated. Your database is getting updated. Someone is actually updating that database. Is the job of this update data. So this is going to update your data via some mechanism. So I'm making that mechanism as a simple API through which we can trigger and see that, oh, when this endpoint or someone update the data behind the scene, is my UI reflected with the new data or not, is something we will try to identify. So I will say you have response.send, and in the send basically we will send the same data. So before sending the data, we will do one small thing, which is I will say data is equal to, we will get the new data probably from somewhere. Maybe I will hard code it and say that updated data. So considering this data will be coming from your request and whatnot, I'm for sample example, maybe hard coding is so that we have updated data, and this updated data will go over there just for the demonstration purpose. Now, this is something we have our endpoint, which is get data, and we have something called update data, which is running. Now, let's quickly see if our get data endpoint is working or not. Let me do a duplicate and basically look for slash get data, and we get the initial data. What we want, basically, we wanted to do fetch this data on the UI. Let's go and quickly fetch this data on the UI. How to do that? You guys are champ. Let's create a small script and we will write some method in order to fetch this data. How do we fetch the data, guys? So I will write a small try catch kind of thing. You can use some better ways to achieve that. So inside try, we wanted to make an API call, which is on slash get data. How do you get the data? I will get the response from the API, in our case, which is fetch, and we will get the data, which is get data. So this is how basically I'm saying, give me the data which is from this endpoint and fetch is a web API. Now, very interesting to note, because I'm making a request outside, what I will ensure that I'm going to make this request in a await. So I will put all of these in a function which is called get data probably, and we'll move all this try catch over there. And as we are making this await, we have to ensure that entire function is basically async in this case. Very important, because await works in the combination with async. Now, once you get the response, you have to convert into, you have to get the result and whatnot. So you say response.json, you have to deserialize the data which is coming, because the data which get transferred from the network call is in the serialized fashion. Always remember, guys, it is very important. Why we are actually doing this JSON? Because the data that get traversed in the network call are the serialized data. So we have to deserialize it back. So I'm just deserializing it back, which is our converting into the JSON data. With that, what I want, I just wanted to say document.get element by ID, which is this ID. And I wanted to update this data with the data that we will get from the internet. So I will close this up and say that the inner HTML, please get converted from the result that we get. So that is what we want. So in case there is an error, probably I will just say console.log. There is some error, please print that, not interested in the error at this moment. So what we wanted to do this get data. Let's call this get data right away. You can use some event listener when the document got loaded and whatnot, when your application is ready. But in our case, I'm doing it right away. Let's see how basically it works. So in this case, we will basically reload this and see what happened. So let's see if the request basically went to the server, which is get data. What we got in the response is a crazy thing. Okay, this is get data. We got the data.initial data something, and this is what the object got printed. And we don't want this object. We want the actual data. So I will say result.data should be printed, because we are getting the JSON data. So if we see, we will wait. This is initial data. Let's quickly check what we get. We have a data, and we will verify if we are getting the right set of data. Oh, one thing I wanted to say, because we are doing a deserialization, we have to make a await. So just a small change over here, and let's reload. We got the initial data. Perfect. So this is the initial data that we got from the server. And now consider example, our data got updated on the server. What I meant by, somehow someone called this API, which is update data. So if I go and call this API, which is please do a update data. So what I meant by, someone is using our system. Someone might have updated the data behind the scene. Your DB got updated. But at this moment, I will say I got the updated data. If I try to look for get data again, I'm looking for get data. You see my data is updated, but my UI is still showing me the stale information. Where is the latest notification that happened? Where it gone? The latest analytics tool that we are using, we wanted to show the real-time data. And how do we can show it? We want some mechanism where we can do the congruent polling kind of thing, so that we can keep on polling and we can keep on getting the data from the server on the real time. Let's try to do that. Now, what I'm going to basically do, quick one thing. First, restart the server again so that our data is refreshed to the old data. That is one. Second, basically on the UI, we need a polling mechanism. How we can get it? Probably I will create a function, say have a short polling. And in this polling, how we can do the polling, guys? You are smart enough. You have something called set interval. Set interval is used to keep on calling something on the interval. So what we are going to say, please keep on calling this function on an interval. And inside this function, I am going to execute the get data. Now, how much interval we wanted to execute something? I wanted to probably execute every 5 seconds. In every 5 seconds, I wanted to make a request to the server, get the data and do whatever we were doing. So this is a short polling. I will call this short polling function right away so that it can start loading then and there. Chalo. So with that, we'll see. I will reload my application. We'll quickly see if there is any request that goes. So we'll wait for a few seconds. We see get data request went and we have the initial data got printed. Now we saw after some time another request went where the initial data got printed. Because there is no change in the data, you won't see anything getting reflected in the UI. So it will keep on making requests, asking to the server, boss, do you have new request? Boss, do you have new request or not? So that is what it is doing. Exactly, this is what it is doing. It is asking the server every short interval, every 10 seconds, do you have any data? Do you have any new data? Now, consider example, we have called this, someone have updated the data, some activity have added the notification, increase the, like change anything in the analytics tool. If I call this, which is I have updated the data, let's see what happens. So it will make the new request automatically because there is a polling going on and you see behind the scene your data got updated. So this is how basically a short polling exists. Short polling work. Try to notice one important thing. All these connections are very short-lived. Like you made a request, you got the response, you made the request, got the response, made the request, got the response. It is not holded on the server. It is not persistent, which you have to basically notice in this particular case, which is very, 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 very important. So just to highlight a few important things, a quick one, which is you keep on making request on a certain interval, you get the data. That data may be not be updated, it may be updated depending on, you may be making some unnecessary call because you don't know from the client when the data will be updated. It's just that the connection is short-lived, not persistent. It utilizes less resources. And basically the problem is when you go to the scale, basically if your system is not at a scale, this is a good choice, go for it. Why don't? And we have saw multiple examples in this particular case. So I hope you might be using this technique a lot. In case you are not using this technique to get the real-time data, probably something that you can always look for. Only certain things I wanted to highlight. Whenever you talk about intervals, right? Whenever you talk about interval, two things has to be taken care on a very utter cases, which is please handle the error handling. What if the data did not get or that there is issue in the data modification? Else you will go into global exception. Very important. Else you will throw into global exception and it can break your application in multiple runs. Have proper exception handling. That is one. Second, whenever you create set interval kind of thing for polling purpose, remember you should have a mechanism to clear this interval. What I meant by, if you have something called const, probably I will say some ID, which is let interval ID is, and initially there is no ID, and this is something which is assigned over here. What I meant by on some navigation or user action or your event or the target condition, any of these cases, you have to ensure that you clear your interval at most important thing. Where I remember doing mistakes in past where started the polling and my job was done, but still I was keep on unnecessary polling to the server, which you should not do. And this is something which is again asked a lot of time in interviews. Why basically interval goes for a toss, or what are the issues basically that you can encounter when you're using the interval, right? One of those, two of those issues basically which I've highlighted, please take a note, because this is something which you generally get from the experience. You might have done some mistake and then you realize clearing those and having a right set of exception handling, which is very important. Else the set interval and set timeout takes the exception into the global, convert into global exception, which can break your system to the next level. Now with that, see you in the next episode, and we will be doing a lot of other interesting things. Signing off, Chirag Goyal.